Hello everyone, or g'day from Australia. Yep, another edition of Kev's Workshop. Some years ago I did the New South Wales XPT conversion from a Lima HST, Lima being the HO00 scale version and HSC being the British version of the New South Wales XPT. As you can see, I've modified the front end, and if I bring the camera down low, it's not the best modification in the world, but that was my trial I did some years ago. And here in front there's a power car, typical Lima with the pancake motors, also known as ring-filled motors, which is a true title. Pancake's a nickname. I've added extra wiring and stuff inside, I've added headlights to it, and both of these units came to me, or given to me, because they were only seen as scrap, rubbish, something that could only be used for spare parts. However, I managed to restore both of them. They ran in the New South Wales XPT original colour scheme for a few months, and then I converted the tail car over here into the New South Wales version. One of the variations, you take the extra roof off the top and the front. As you can see, I've added in the rectangular brass tubing for the exhaust, as it should be. I've added in the air intakes and used some old pyjamas on the inside out for the mesh grille for the exhaust. I've also removed a lot of detail off the back end. I've also cut in the new back door and blocked in what was the original baggage car doors, or the baggage doors anyway. These decals, I originally done them up on my computer, and a good friend of mine was able to do these up as a water slide decal. So the Tilt Train logo has taken a bit of a beating over the last 2 years at least. So I'm now aiming to do this a bit better on the power car, because it'll be the front one. And if I take this away for a moment, you might be able to see, a lot of rubbish I know. There we go. I've actually taken sections away and added in solid plastic. Actually, it's going to be a bit difficult no matter where I look in this workshop. But yeah, the added plastic I've actually painted blue already. You see me markings on the inside of the window line. And there's a nice shot of it. Okay. This camera will focus for me. So I've actually added a section to, there we go, added the section to the front window to bring it down in height. Yeah, it's a bit easier. So that's the window modifications, which is sort of what I've done here, but I've painted it, which is pretty slack of me perhaps. But at least this piece here, the front, is a little bit better. Again, not quite accurate. Okay, now if we go to taking this window section out, what I've done, I've painted the interior beige, or fawn, whatever you want to call it. I forget now what colour paint that was I used, it's Humbrol paint. But you can see back here I've taken away the baggage car window area, because that is where the windows clip into the bodywork. So just getting rid of that is one thing. Use me Dremel. Bloody good tool. The best tool I've ever had. I've worked with plenty of tools, but that's another story. Okay. Another thing you need to do with the HSTs is remove or unclip the pair of air tanks that sit underneath here. Replace it with some ladder work. And I fitted number 5 KDs for those who are interested. You can use the number 5 KDs on a Lima unit. Hornby ones, I'm not too sure, I think they sit slightly different, but otherwise a bit of packing up underneath here will make the difference. So as long as you've got a height gauge coupler unit, you can set these KD to the correct height. What I've done with the chassis, apart from stripping it down and cleaning it and all that, I've spray painted it in matte black or satin black, one of the two. I've also written on this steel weight in the Lima unit, XP 2009. That was the power car that was used on this specific colour scheme set. The reason for this colour scheme was that New South Wales, back in the end of 1995, early 1996, was trialling 3 special carriages that came across from Sweden, which is the X2000 tilt train. Hence, Country Link X2000. It's a bit of a joint venture between Swedish Rail and, well, the SJ Rail, as they call it, and New South Wales Country Link. So XP 2009 was the lead unit, and 2000 and I haven't got it underneath here. It'll be inside the bodywork anyway. I think from memory that was XP 2000 and I was going to say 2001, but I could be incorrect. However, the added lighting, for those of you who wish to do this sort of thing, I've made my own spade connectors. A bit of 5 or 10 thou sheet brass, cut like a letter T, folded over, squished down with a pair of long nose pliers. You can make your own fairly easily if you're talented enough. But I've added extra wiring, and underneath this piece of cardboard I've made a headlight holder. If I just get this around here for you. The 2 lights that you see in here, got the tail light and the headlight. This whole unit here is just a bit of shim brass again. And I'm just having a bit of hassle trying to get this out. Bear with me a moment. Fumble things around. There we go. Comes off fairly easy if it doesn't jam. And underneath, a pair of diodes, one for forwards, one for reverse. Now, the lighting I'm using, it's supposed to be grain of rice or grain of wheat, one of the two. I forget which one's the smaller of the 2 sets. But these you can get from JK Electronics here in Australia. Very simple as, but they act as the headlight and tail light. Later on I'll go through here some red nail polish and make that lens or that glass red in colour. So when I put the fibre optics to the end of it, the fibre optics will end up coming out basically red. And this is just designed to sit over that pin. That's a retaining clip that removes the front bogie. So by giving that slight twist and pull, that centre pin drops out and the whole front bogie falls out. Then you can service the front bogie. Drop that back into place. Now the way that this is all wired up, there's a connection there, of course. You need one lead going to the common side. That is, you've got the common coming in. Actually, I can't do this. Well, you've got the common side from both diodes. Then that gives you forward or reverse voltage. Up into here is the join. That's between the 2 common sides of the light. There's, well, yeah, you've got over here. It's easy to show when I power it up. And this here is the other common side to the roof lights, which operate this setup here. So the other side comes from back here, the motor, comes back through my connector down to this light. So forward and reverse voltage will depend on which light comes on and which one doesn't. And if I just put this one aside for the moment, you can't see exactly what I'm doing. So don't worry, you're not missing a great deal. Okay, setting up your rolling road. Okay. Good thing about these rolling roads, you pick up power directly from the rail head. Ah, bugger. Thought that really goes. Dumbass. Okay, if I can set this up while holding my camera, even better still. Get up there, you. The camera's in handhold mode. Might be a bit boring for you, but I'll try hard not to be. Just bear with me while I change camera positions. Okay, the magic. I'm back again. You can see I've got the rear wheels are set up on these set of rollers. The front set on here. To help you understand what I'm trying to explain, I'll put the control into forward mode. I get the headlight coming on. That'll operate the fibre optics to the actual body mounted headlights. And then in reverse, the red light will come on once this gets the red nail varnish on it, nail polish, and that'll give me the red fibre optics lit up. So you can sort of see I've painted one wire in red. Now go from a slightly different angle. With the Lima units, the gear drive is usually on the left hand side when viewing it from the tail end like this. So if you're going to pull apart a Lima unit, you want to remember as to which side the gear drive is. That's how you know whether you've got the unit put in the right way around or back to front. That little tag there and this other tag on the left hand side. If I can grab this for you. There's the other halves. They plug in up here. And inside this bit of brass tube, there's the other one of these these glass globe style lights. That goes into the roof of the bodywork, and that'll light up the top three lights, which you see there. So there's one of these. Oops, get the camera up here. One of these mounted inside back here. Fibre optics coming all the way through to these three at the front. It's basically done the same way in the tail car as I've done it in the power car. And of course the Bartman rolling road, as you can see, does a brilliant job. That way I can change the speed. And then I can change direction. So I can check out the mechanism in both directions at just about any speed. So that'll give you some idea on a past project, which is also part of a current project during January-February area of 2021. I did start on this project in December, but I got very little done to it. At the moment we're in a full lockdown in WA until the 5th of February. So I'm at my workshop at the moment instead of being at work, where I should be. Mind you, work has decided not to send me any work, so right, fine, I don't mind. But got basically a week off. When you're casual, not easy. So yeah, put this back into place. When the bodywork goes on, that'll keep all the wiring nice and tidy. Everything will be contained. The bodywork for this one, if I come over this side, there it is masked up with some purple painter's tape. I've got a few areas I've still got to fix up which I couldn't see before, as you can see clearly here. There's 3 lights per side underneath, so there's basically 6 lots of fibre optic to go in. I'll only be putting 4. This side's much better, of course. You notice there's a notch here out of the window. You'll see that a lot more noticeable once I put the glazing back into it, because it looked like it should do, not like I've done on the tail car. I'm going to just walk you over to this side of my workshop, one part of Wombat Flats, and look at that. Who's not a fan of Back to the Future number 3? Hey, check that out. Now I'll start up here. Mantua Tyco, or was originally Tyco, became Mantua. They produced this locomotive, but I've rebuilt the chimney last year. It's back end of 2020. The figure that's on the side isn't correct, but never mind. I've also cut the cab roof and added the roof hatch into the open position as per the movie, and I've added the extra detail in behind it. I've also taken out the plastic coal load and put in natural wood. In Australia we've got gum trees, and the sticks or twigs that come from that I've used to become the wood load, and I have actually spilt it down the front on purpose as per the movie. A friend of mine is doing the decal work for the tender and the locomotive, but this is a locomotive I bought specifically for this intention, and I'll hope to show you some video of it later in actual working mode. And I'll be setting up Wombat Flats somewhere in the next month or two when I get the opportunity, and I'll get some video of it then and upload that as a new video. The Hot Wheels car is highly modified. It is actually sitting on model railway wheels, but all the time circuitry here on the front, I've scratch built that myself. I have a lot of photos and references to come from, and what I did, I put the DVD in the computer, ran it through VLC video player, and screenshotted as many shots as I needed, and then had to work out the scales and all that from there. I've also added in Mr. Fusion on the back and extra details to the original Hot Wheels car, and yes, I do have slot car tyres down the back here, and I made it the framework that holds them. Inside those tyres is a coupling. It's a modified X2F, which is what Tyco use, and for those who don't know, that's an X2F. So modifying one of those couplings on the front, I was able to come up here and put these tyres over the top of it. So they are helping to locate all that in place. But can you imagine a camera scene of the model looking at it like this? Now some of you are probably thinking to yourself, you see smoke. Well, let's have a slightly different view of this. It's a bit hard to see with all the background, but all that has MIG welding wire down the guts of the chimney. You get a cotton ball and you tease it out till it looks like smoke, and that's how I've done that. However, at this point, having the white smoke or do it light misty grey, it's one thing, but that'll get dyed to green, almost like a lime green colour when I can get the right mixture done, and that'll be done using probably food colouring to give the impression of stage 1 of going back to the future. Now the idea of what I'm modelling, if I come this way, that's a photo of the model with the movie scene in the background, and in the movie scene there is light green smoke digitally edited into the film. I'm working off the shots from the DVD. I've tried to get my chimney as correct as I can, because I've seen so many variations where it's not correct, and you can see from here some of the decal work that's got to be done and the dot figure that I've got to get. The brass bell's got to be put back into brass yet, but technically this build is complete. The only difference is getting the decal work on, getting that build painted back to the brass colour, and then I can be happy with its final edit, you might say. So for those Back to the Future fanatics out there, yes, I have tried. And no, I can't get this thing up to 88 miles an hour. Not with the green smoke at least. Okay, another project I'm getting back onto in 2021. Project I started almost 20 years ago. We used to live in a suburb called Gosnells, and prior to moving from there to where we are now, I'd started this kit. It's the New South Wales L series carriages. There's also the R series carriages, which look very much the same. And if I bring this up to here, we'll come over here into the light a bit better. This is the consist. 2 HFL terminal cars, 1 FL second class, 2 BL first class, and 1 RFL, which is buffet, being restaurant. So makes up a full 6-car set of everything. And that's just two carriages out of the 6-car set. I've been wanting to get this completed for don't know how long. Now if I come to here, I'll pull this from the box. That's a photo of New South Wales C36 on the front with a 6-car L set on the back. Might be a bit hard to see with the light reflections off the laminate, but that's how they should look. Well, when I finish my project, and there's all the instructions and everything else that goes with it. By the time I get all that out, the insert comes out, and in this nice little box that they supply was the whole thing flat packed. One's gone back to being flat packed, but that's the full 6-car set. There's a project I want to get complete this year at least. Bit of brass work, so we've got that in here. Got bags of bits, brass wire for the handrails and everything else. They actually come with, I'll do this around here for you, little pinpoint bearings, and they're located inside these axle boxes. So one day, I keep saying to myself, one day I'll get this set complete. If I take this buggered carriage out, and we'll come over here with it. You can see that these are white metal ends, as these white metal sides inclusive. Plastic door diaphragms. Bogie work. You would assemble the bogies yourself. There's spoked wheels. Don't know what they said, but they're spoked anyway. Plus, also come with white metal couplings. So that'll give you an idea of the floor. There's detail work to go underneath them yet. The roof is also wood. It might, but it certainly sounds like it would. Don't have my bad sense of humour. Alright, and there's one of the white metal sides. Camera's finding it hard to deal with. It's like some of you might be hard to deal with my jokes, but anyway. So that's basically the two sides flat. And that's the majority of this particular carriage. Roof, both sides, floor, both ends. That one is going to be the first one I'll fix up. Then I shall get back onto the rest of the set. Then I can run it on my layout as intended. So that one carriage out of the box at the moment, that will all get done up. The New South Wales typical red-brown colour, which is Tuscan, or Indian red, or deep Indian red, depending what era. There is a variety of these sets in real life. One set was painted blue and cream for the Caves Express, going Sydney to Lithgow to take people to the Jenolan Caves, hence Caves Express. There's a green and cream set that was also done, and I think there was a red and cream set done as well. But majority of the sets were in the Tuscan, as per, I'll come over to here, get all this out of the way, as per that. So that's either Tuscan or Indian red colour scheme. Silver roofs. So, get the shadow out of the way. That's the colour scheme I'll be putting this set into. But I would like to get a hold of some more of these carriages. But I can do it in the blue and cream, because what I intend doing, apart from spinning it around and getting you giddy, don't fall off your computer seats, up here is the beginnings of a C35, which was the sort of loco that was used to haul that particular set of carriages. I started these back in 2020, just somewhere to keep all the wheel sets together. They're the KS or K's brand of wheels, Lima plastic wheels for the front. Beginnings of the C36 tender. I think they're roundhouse bogies underneath it, from memory. Got them as part of a whole pile of spare parts. Again, K's brand, and Lima New South Wales 44 class front pickup wheels. Yes, they're nice and weighty. But that'll become a C36 eventually, to replace the two that were stolen back in 2012. So I have to make up another one. Yeah, 9:45 in the morning. Give you guys an idea what it's like outside. 30 degrees Celsius and about 60% humidity. So yeah. There's New South Wales 38, or double 38s, which is 13 and 01 on the Western Endeavour set back in 1970, taken from a calendar shot. And New South Wales 8060 on the Hawkesbury River Ridge, heading towards Sydney. Might not mean anything to you lot, but they're all significant to me anyway. And yeah, I've got printed up in here too. There you go. Channel you're watching right now. So yeah, but these are some of my projects I've got on the go. So I'd like to hope very soon this will be finished, and I'll be able to show you on another video of this unit running around my layout. So yeah, another lot of projects I've got on the go. And all this wire. Yes, this was seen in a previous YouTube video of mine. And to explain what this is for those of you who have not yet seen it, let's take work out the way because it's going to fall on the floor and everything. It is basically a level crossing unit. Power comes in at one end, a gear head motor from JK Electronics, and a micro switch on the back end. The idea of this, it's mechanical or electromechanical oscillator. Common goes in one side, left and right goes the other side. And to let me know underneath the layout that the flashing lights are working, I've got the indicators there, which is two LEDs, 3mm jobs, and there's the output wires to the level crossing. So if I can pick this up without taking the camera everywhere, that's a scratch built level crossing unit so far. It's been like this for near on 6 months, probably almost 12 months in this present condition. And there's a boom gate off a proprietary made model. It was a little bit buggered and bent and stuff, so yeah, fine, I'll try and make another one. And there's another boom gate, which again was for American design, so I've swapped it, so it's now not quite correct. I wish these companies overseas would make Australian boom gates for the Australian side of things, but no, they make European, they make American, but nothing Australian. There's another set of boom gate posts and lights in the raw. So that's in raw essence of what they are. That one's a little bit more dressed up. And then eventually I'll get the boom gates onto that. Anyone interested in knowing and getting Australian plans, what you're best to do is go to my links page. When you get in the links page, look up data sheets, and there's one of the drawings from Greg Edwards in Canberra of the boom gates. So yes, there is stuff you can find, and yeah, it comes with all the dimensions. And the worst part for me, all this is in metric. My scale rulers in feet and inches, so therefore I've got to convert everything to feet and inches. But it does come in complete with notes. Message coming through my phone. And then yeah, New South Wales Soul level crossing gates, type F, circa of 1958 at least. Now these were common to see around New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, and I think even in Queensland. The West Australian design is slightly different, but this is yet another one of my projects to get complete. For those of you who might be interested in knowing, this is another one of Greg's drawings from data sheets. Yes, it's on the actual New South Wales XPT, not the British HST. Come down here, see data sheets. I'm just going to give them a bit of promotion here. Without Greg's drawings, I'll be lost trying to get all the right dimensions and stuff. XP. That's the classification they gave it in New South Wales. 1/87th scale. You know it's to HO. Up here gives all the rooftop details, where things should be, how things should look. You see what I'm trying to achieve by putting that little bit of a curved notch in the Lima bodywork. And that's showing the colour scheme where the unit was originally released. Has New South Wales XPT Unit City logo on the side, which is hard to see with the light reflection. It's not easy, but might be a bit easy if I go on this one where it's got less light reflection. That shows both sides, shows all the necessary detail, where the grille should be, where the door is, how big it is. It also gives you front and rear details, so you know exactly what you're looking at. Greg's drawings are brilliant. I've got a whole file here, it's chock full. To give you some indication, I'm at the back end of my file. So there's the New South Wales 620, 720 units. And if I can flick up a few more, there's actually actual ARHS drawings, Australian Rail Historical Society drawings, of the U-boats, Sydney Silver single deck units. Usually ran as a 4-car set. That's a power car. They ran the 2 intermediate trailers in between them, and a power car at each end. There's a Sydney Suburban, the old, what they call red rattlers. That's in the blue and white colour scheme, brought out. I've got plans in there for that. I've got the common drawings for the Sydney double deck steel body jobs. And if I go through here, I've got to flick all my pages back. That's all the plans I've got, just on New South Wales only. So I've got a whole file full of drawings for West Australian, a bit of South Australian, etc. But my predominant stuff is New South Wales modelling. And with Greg's drawings, he always gives a couple of photos so you can get an understanding of what you're looking at. So guys, people, if you're out there modelling, you might want to check up data sheets. Look up in the Kev's Workshop website, go to the links page, and you'll find it there. Otherwise you go via your current projects. You can also go via the Kalamunda Zigzag page that I created some years ago. But yeah, certainly go through even just Yahoo or Google search for data sheets and look up, I think it's under Grapevine for memory, but yeah, Greg will look after you, especially if you tell him you saw it on my Kev's Workshop website, or you saw it on the Kev's Workshop series of videos on YouTube. But yeah, anything New South Wales, Greg does a whole collection full of them. Let's see if I can find, oh no, where is it? And amongst all my bits and pieces up here, there we are. This will give you an idea if I can get this one out. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Data sheets catalogue. It's got the old address where I used to live, but never mind. Data sheets. That's what you're looking up. And at the time of this particular catalogue, all the stuff in green is what I have. And amongst all that. And this is just one of about 4 or 5 pages worth. So that'll give you an idea, just some. You've got 6 pages according to this. So that'll give you an idea. But you might want to just look up, on your Google search, data sheets, Canberra. And if I'm right, you've still got the same PO box address. PO Box 2, Braddon, suburb of Canberra. That was his old email address. Yeah, that's the old email address, but you can still do a Google search and find out what his current one is. Because I know it's got the word Grapevine written in it. But yeah, all Greg's drawings are top notch. So yeah, if you're looking for plans, here's a guy to look for. Thanks for watching this short video. I'm not going to make this one a short one because my last couple of videos I've uploaded to YouTube were quite lengthy. So to stop you guys from being bored, I shall end it here and I'll catch up with you later. Bye.